Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I am back with another review, and I am super excited to bring to you today from the San Diego Comic-Con 2016 Titans Return uh, Titan Force set. This is Brainstorm. Brainstorm is a deluxe class figure, and as of this recording, the only way you'll be able to get Brainstorm is in the San Diego Comic Con set. Later on, Brainstorm in a alternate paint scheme will be released as a Walgreens exclusive. Yes, you heard that right, Walgreens. Um, that seems a little odd to me, but apparently Walgreens is known for toys and getting exclusives, and I have to say, I think it's been about 5 or 6 years since a Walgreens opened in my neighborhood, and I would say in the last 2 or 3, their toy section has really expanded from just the Chinese knockoff, cheap toys to more main brands. Um, that aren't necessarily, a few years old that were just overstocked. Brainstorm, as you can see, if I bring him in, is actually a remold of Deluxe Blur. Um, and this is really kind of cool. The big difference is you have the wings, tail fin, but the little shield section on Blur has been retooled and elongated to give that classic Brainstorm nose cone. This basically says to me and helps sustain my theory that this mold will be retooled again for RC down the line. Other than that, there are a few more changes. These side pylons are a little bit different, but the vehicle mode is quite solid. Brainstorm does, of course, feature the same gimmicks and what have you that Blur does. You can just go ahead, remove the nose cone here. I should mention that it does come off much, much more easily than on Blur. We just do this, pop out the Titan Master. Now, what's interesting is the Titan Master has been renamed. Originally, Brainstorm's Titan Master was named Arcana, but for this set, the figure has been renamed to Tesla. Um, Interesting to note, the previous generation's release of Brainstorm, which more closely resembled the G1 toy, the Headmaster was not named. Most people just referred to it as Arcana. I'll probably be going back and forth, but as you can see, you have the little sled here. The front landing gear can, of course, pop out just like so, and you can slip the figure in just like that. Unfortunately, it doesn't balance as nicely as it once did. I am also a little disappointed that the two front blasters aren't removable, since those are Brainstorm's more iconic weapons. Something else that's kind of good and kind of bad is how they attach the main weapon here, the handheld blaster. Um, Originally on Blur, it just pegged in. Well, because of the increased size, what they've gone ahead and done is you still have that one peg, but now you have a slot for the grip of the blaster to connect into, thus making a much more secure connection. So we'll just pause right here and we'll get into the transformation. Brainstorm's transformation is exactly the same as Blur's. First, what you want to do is go ahead and detach the side panels from the main fuselage. You just want to bring them up and out of the way for now. Go ahead, flip the wings up just to get them out of the way of the arms. Come in, open up the cockpit. If you just notice, I did push it down slightly, so that did detach the front end. That happens. I think we all know that from Blur. Go ahead, you can flip that down and bring in the cockpit on that second snap. Come in underneath, open up the leg panels, turn it around, flip the legs down, just like so. Separate them. They do peg in a little tighter than on Blur. Flip in the fin, close the panels, flip the feet down, just like so. Rotate the arms down, flip them up, peg them into the shoulder. Just the camera. Do it on this side. Go ahead, you can just bring that back section down. Now, unfortunately here with the hands, the little coverings, because you don't have that extra length, these are a little bit harder to flip around. And finally, all that's left is to add the head. So we'll bring in Tesla and just plug it into place. And there you go. There you have Brainstorm in robot mode. Okay, before we get into a comparison with Blur and robot mode, I just wanted to point out that Hyperfire and Tesla, Arcana, whatever you want to call them, they share the exact same robot mode. This is a straight repaint. The only difference is the robot mode heads. As you can see, this doesn't have, Tesla does not have the side fins that the Generations version of Arcana did, but it's still a respectable head mode. So let's get to that robot mode comparison. Okay, and as you can see, basically in robot mode, there are a few more differences. Brainstorm has these shoulder fins, which on the original toy were like these little angled stabilizers on the shoulders. These are just molded in, they don't move. They were there on the underside of the arm. Yeah, the whole upper shoulder section is retooled because of the wings. You can also see now just how much longer Brainstorm's shield cannon is than on Blur. I should mention that moving the arm, the back wing here does get in the way just a little. Also, because of the increased size, you might have a little bit of an issue with leverage in terms of being able to get this on and off, giving it a little wiggle to do so. Other than that, it's a different paint job. The legs and waist and what have you are all the same. So, yeah, this is like kind of cool. As I mentioned, right now the only way to get Brainstorm is in that SDCC set. I'm very surprised more people aren't losing their mind, I guess because Hasbro revealed so quickly that it would be a Walgreens exclusive. But then again, I've never seen a Hasbro exclusive at Walgreens. I've heard stories of employees basically buying the stock before it even hits the shelves. With that said, your best bet if you want to Brainstorm is either buying the Titan Hunters, not Titan Hunters, Titan Force set. I don't know why I want to keep calling it Titan Hunters, the Titan Force set, or wait for the Dakar version. But unfortunately, pre-orders for that are sold out, and I do believe we'll have a different head for Brainstorm that's more accurate to the Japanese Headmasters cartoon. So, those are your options. I think it's a cool mode. I really do enjoy the Blur base mold, and I kind of have the feeling that the Blur Brainstorm mold is going to become the Dead End Wild Rider mold for Titan's Return. If you remember in Combiner Wars, that Dead End mold got retooled and reused, repainted quite often. So I think that can happen. Like I said, I just see an RC figure here. I really do. So we'll just pause and we'll move on and take a look at Sentinel Prime. All right, and the second Titan's Return set in the SDCC Titan Force 2016 exclusive set is Sentinel Prime. And this figure answers an important question. How to make an already orange figure that much more orange. As you can see, there is a lot of clear plastic, translucent plastic, I should say. It's not clear because it's orange. Translucent plastic used. I do want to stress that it is not used in load-bearing joints. The elbows, the shoulders, the hips, the knees are all solid plastic. So I don't think you have to worry about this breaking down over time. Now, basically, this figure looks like a giant orange sorbet. Hold on a second. Let me just try here a little taste. Mm. No, it doesn't taste like orange sorbet. Do a little bit of lead. Probably not a good idea. But then again, I used to suck on Hot Wheels as a child, and nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened. Don't lick your toys, kids. But anyway, there is a lot of clear orange here. Sentinel Prime, I'm sure as we know, even though it's being sold as an Autobot, is a bad guy, is the main antagonist in the Titans Return story. And what I think is kind of cool is Hasbro did go ahead, and let's see if I can clean this up for you. And they did change the logo there to, I guess, the classic Sentinel Prime logo. I have heard reports from other people who've bought this set that their versions of Sentinel Prime were loose. I do have to say I'm quite happy. Nothing shakes, nothing jiggles. The legs stay up on their own. The knees bend. Everything's tight and secure. I was a little concerned about that just because this was only the second use of the mold. We still have an Astro Train coming. We have the Japanese version of Astro Train coming, and we have probably the Japanese version of Sentinel Prime coming, and who knows how many other repaints and retools of this mold would be coming. So for it to start loosening up at this stage of the game would be a little disappointing. All the gimmicks are included. You have the combining weapons that can be used for a Titan Master to sit in. You do have the rotating head here with the pylons that, that whole platform turns. So we'll just pause. The transformation has already been covered by many other reviewers. So we'll come back, and I think we'll just start with shuttle mode so we can take a look at how the vehicle modes end up with this bright orangey paint job. Before we get on to the orange shuttle of fun, I wanted to give you a quick look at Emissary. Emissary has been done up in clear plastic as well, except for one part that I think was the most important, and that was Sentinel Prime's head. This is all solid plastic. I mean, they really missed an opportunity in maybe doing this in like that translucent plastic, or maybe using some light. So the type of paint that allows light to come through, because I really would have said that would have been cool. You sit up in a window, you get that nice glow. I mean, at the very least, leave the eyes unpainted so you get that translucent plastic. I mean, this is all clear. This is just like one giant light piping source, but unfortunately they didn't, and I'm really disappointed by that. I think that would have been totally cool to see. Yes, I can speak English. And here's the orange shuttle of fun. As you can see, instead of putting Emissary in the cockpit, I did do the little combined weapon embankment, which I think is actually the best of Titan's Return thus far. And just for fun, I wanted to show off Brainstorm's little sled mode here, and how, much like Blur, it really is designed to peg into the side of things. One thing I'm sure a lot of you are noticing is the increased paint details than from the mainline release. The front cockpit is painted in. You have these little sensors or what have you, maybe sort of look like train wheels, painted in. But, again, it is, instead of that, you still have that like reddish orange going through that's wiping out a lot of detail. But it is kind of cool, and, let's be honest, this figure is meant to be Astro Train, and this does look like a Astro Train type vehicle. Speaking of which, let's take a look at train mode. And here's Sentinel Prime in what I like to call the party train mode. The big difference here is, as you can see, all of the train wheels have been painted on both sides of the figure. This is incredible because on the main release, this was not done. You basically had these front wheels, I believe, not painted in. But so I know a lot of people are happy about that. One thing I do want to mention, I don't have the main uh, Sentinel Prime release from Titan's Return to compare, but I have heard a lot of people say that the panels that are the train wheels and the panels, the cover the legs in shuttle mode, are very thin plastic and very cheap feeling. And I have to say, I don't know if it's just mine, but especially in train mode, they do not peg in as well as I think they should. That could just be me, and that, this is how well they do, or, there's an issue with the mold already developing that I think will become a bigger problem as it's used more down the line. But really, from going from shuttle mode to train mode, outside of those train wheels, there's not a lot new here in terms of the paint design. So we'll just pause, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Before anyone says anything, yes, I did realize at the end that I forgot to flip the feet around for Sentinel Prime's train mode, but basically it's all just a giant hunk of translucent orange plastic, so not that big of a difference. I was kind of focusing on Astro Train, and the last Astro Train we got was a bullet train, and potato potato, that's what happened. I kind of lied. Actually can't give you my final thoughts on this set because there's a third figure, which I'll have to cover in another review because I was trying to keep this relatively short. What I can tell you that if you haven't bought a Sentinel Prime yet, and want Brainstorm, this is a great opportunity to get both and maybe save a little scratch. August 9th, this set will be available on Hasbro Toy Shop, so you have a bit of time to save and prepare because it does get a little crazy. Although, if I remember correctly from last year, the Combiner Hunter set kind of sat for almost 2 months or so. So you might actually luck out, and if you can't get it the first day, it'll be there. But I don't think that's going to be possible this year since Brainstorm is in the set, and like I've mentioned several times already, as of this recording, the only way to get this figure is in that set. And you also are getting the Warrior Class Windblade mold, which, as of this recording, has not been released in North America yet in mainline retail. So, yeah, there's basically two new molds being available in this set. I'm trying to think about like the cost and grief and worth, and I mean, my gut tells me that a lot of people are going to have a hard time finding Brainstorm at Walgreens. And the prices online are probably going to be so high, it just might be cheaper or as expensive to get this set either off a Hasbro Toy Shop or eBay. Please don't try to pay that much of a markup over it. I mean, it's a lot of times some people will try to charge like $200 plus for this set. There's also the Japanese option, but like I said, that'll be a different head, and that's already going to be about between $30 to $50 depending on if it comes with a Titan Master vehicle. So as of right now, my advice is if you want Brainstorm, go ahead, bite the bullet. Wait for August 9th first to try and get the set off of Hasbro Toy Shop. If not, try to find a reasonably priced set on eBay. And then, of course, you'll get two other figures that aren't that bad. Obviously, Sentinel Prime is the token villain for the story, and well, he's the pre-tool of Astro Train. So there's that. So, this is your old pal Chuck for Brainstorm and Sentinel Prime. We will see you next time.